Hi, I'm Tucky,
And I'm Rob.
and we're here today to talk about Dino Dini's Kickoff revival.
Dino Dini's Kickoff revival.
Yeah.
Okay, is this the same Kickoff that I played when I was a kid?
No, too easy. Yes, the Kickoff, the Dino Dini's soccer from I think like 1994 for Mega Drive and the Super Nintendo.
It was a lot earlier than that. I mean,
Oh
I
no,
remember
they had the original Kickoff like 1989.
that's the one that I'm talking about on like the Commodore Amiga
Yeah, Amiga and
and
the
the Atari
ST.
ST. Yeah, because that's what I played. Because it was basically the football game of that time. You had your joystick with its one button, and you used to be able to do everything with that one button.
Yeah, so in the upgraded version for the PlayStation 4, they've kept the same controls.
So you only have one button.
You have like a joystick with I don't know how many buttons is on a normal one, like 12 or something like that. No, you can only use like the D-pad and one button still.
Really?
Yeah. Now it's when they say it's Dino Dini's Kickoff revival, they should have left dead for all it's worth. It's one of them games where yes, there's a nostalgic feel to it. It's an old classic.
Is it still the top-down view
Yes.
where you can't actually judge?
Oh yeah, it looks
distances
like it's been built in Minecraft.
Really?
Yeah, I mean the outside of the stadium has some high-rise suites.
When you say sweets, we're not talking like
No, we're talking licorice all sorts. It's like somebody stacked a load of licorice all sorts outside of like like an N64 graphics type cubism stadium.
there's not going to be like a kaiju Bertie Bassett going around, is there?
No, that'd improve the game amazingly. And it'd be worth playing and it'd get a more positive review if there was that on. But no, this is the most basic of basic games. It's like I've seen more intricate Flash games.
Really?
Yeah, it basically there's better Flash games out there than this one, and it's a shame because looking at it as somebody who's like new to like Dino Dini's like Kickoff, they didn't have the chance to play on the Mega Drive or the Super SNES, and you're supposed to bring it forward and make it a bit more accessible, but instead they've just rehashed this. Like it's the same thing, but in the future.
So hang on, just going back in history a bit. Dino Dini's Kickoff, when it came out, Kickoff originally when it came out was the football game to play.
And
Right.
that's because there was like barely any other football games around.
Well, there was.
This is pre FIFA.
Yeah, this is pre FIFA, pre Virtua Striker, pre everything.
Yeah.
Right? This was pre Sensible Soccer,
Yeah,
but then what happened was Kickoff was the game to play, but then Sensible Software came out with Sensible Soccer,
yeah,
which actually
changed the game.
it
quite literally.
changed the game quite literally, and it was better than Kickoff, right, and better than Kickoff 2.
Well, everything's got to start somewhere. I mean, the light bulb was amazing back in whenever.
But
that
the thing
was.
is, they did like a Sensible Soccer remake a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I think it was out on Steam or something like that. They did a Sensible Soccer remake. Is this like that, or is this trying to do Kickoff for the modern era?
Well, see, the thing is, if they're trying to do Kickoff for the modern era, I mean, like I say, this is an updated thing. You'd expect controls to be better.
Yeah.
I mean, Dino Dini's, the ball doesn't stick to your feet.
Yes.
Big thing. It's like the players have absolutely zero motor function, and they just kick the ball in front of them, and it's like, I don't know. It's like watching blindfolded football from a top view.
Okay.
It's just get a load of professional players, put blindfolds on them, and give them some kind of super strength where they can somehow tackle and take out a quarter of a field at the same time.
Really?
That's it. And it's I know it's the cash in on the whole Euro 2016 thing. You've got all the international teams, which are the proper names, all the players which are off-brand names, like Harry Kane. No, it's Harris Kane instead of Harry Kane.
So it's like,
or Jordan Henderson is Geordie Henderson.
so it's like Pez then.
Yeah, it's that kind of awful. And like I say, as somebody new playing it, you will get frustrated at this game. This will be an instant rage quit because it's impossible to score a goal.
Really?
The controls are convoluted and ridiculously hard to control. It's kind of offensive to call them controls.
Well, if you've only got one button, I mean, thing is, when I was growing up, the one button was everything.
Yeah,
right?
but that was when you were growing up. Times have changed.
Yeah, things. Video games have become more complicated. They become more robust. You're able to do more with a video game.
Well, this is the thing that I mean, video games, like as we say, they've moved on. You now get tutorials. You can have even a menu which tells you how to use the buttons. Even something as simple and basic as a menu.
That's the thing with. I mean, I'm going to liken this to Pez. Pez has menus galore.
Yeah,
it's my one gripe with Pez is that it's got too many menus. But when
you play Dino Dini's, it makes Pez look amazing.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of them things where we have a game where all you have is the starter player. You can play a tournament mode, or you can play like a friendly match.
Yeah,
and that's it. There's no there's no like changing your teams or anything from the start. It's just start, play, rubbish. That's it. It's the best way I can describe it.
Okay.
And like say for me picking it up, I'm like, why is the ball sticking at his feet? Then I have to go online and I'm like, Dino Dini's Kickoff Revival instructions. I have to actually Google instructions in this day and age.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not included as part of the game?
It's not included as part of the game. And the cheek of it all is Dino Dini himself has put up the most convoluted, like, expansive flowchart of controls, such as, do you intend to dribble? Yes. Do you have the ball? Yes or no? It's like, do you want speed or control? And it's like, you're sitting there reading this flowchart thinking, well, this game, it's instantly. Most people would have quit by now.
Flowcharts?
Yeah, flowcharts. Flowcharts for dribbling, flowcharts for, do you intend to stop the ball? The thing is, the CPU AI on it is fantastic. They know how to pass the ball. It gets to the point where they're in your box and they're just playing keepy-ups.
Flowcharts for dribbling.
Flowcharts for dribbling. And it's like, how hard would it have been in this day and age to put these instructions onto the disc or onto the download? Because, people need instructions. This is 2016. Most of the people who are going to buy this think, oh, football. They're going to think FIFA. They're going to think Pro Evo. They're going to think along them lines. And then they play this game and it's top down. It's like, oh, yeah, it's got the retro feel to it, but the ball doesn't stick at your feet.
Do you think that, just playing devil's advocate here, do you think that maybe Dino Dini and and the people who he worked with were trying to be a bit satirical about this? Because
I think it's an inside joke that nobody gets, not even them.
Well, the thing is, I'm kind of getting the joke myself, but only because I grew up in the 80s, right? And I'm kind of seeing the joke as it is. I think this is a joke that unless you grew up in the 80s, I think it's a joke that maybe you're not going to get, and I think that makes it a bad joke.
Oh, it is.
Right.
It's £15 of a bad joke. If you're paying £15 for a game, you at least get you can get loads of decent indie games all over, especially sports as well.
I hate to say it, but I think this is one of those. Jokes that, it's expensive and it's bad, but the flowcharts is what kind of gives it away, because there is nothing more 80s than flowcharts.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that the whole package, the lack of instructions, having to Google the instructions, the flowcharts, the nostalgia fest that it sounds like.
Yeah.
Right? With the graphics and the gameplay and everything like that. I think it's just trying to encapsulate what the 80s game actually was, right? And I think the joke is simply that, look, this is the 80s game as it actually was. It's not how you remember it through your nostalgia goggles. This is literally what it was. Go back and play the original.
It's you got. I mean, it's frustrating because I thought it would have been a decent game.
It's a shame because Kickoff had the potential of really becoming something interesting, but then FIFA came out. EA came out with FIFA, and all of a sudden, the game changed. I mean, Sensible Soccer changed the game first with Sensible Software, or Sensible Software changed the game first with Sensible Soccer, I should say, and that added more control to the game. The ball actually stuck to your feet. Right.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, in this war, if you want to get the ball to stick your feet, you've got. I think it's like the L1 shoulder button. I found that by just pressing random buttons because it came to that.
Yeah.
It came to just pressing random buttons, and I mean, playing the game The sliding tackles are still in there. That's a
Yeah.
positive because you can like tackle half a field.
Yeah.
But that leads to another problem because you'll never be able to get out of your own half. The opposition's always got the ball in your box, and you're always giving away penalties because there's no control over the tackles or anything. I mean, there's no red and yellow cards because who needs refereeing in a football game, but. You're giving away penalties, and before you know it, Iceland's beating you 8-0. I mean, it's not, no offence to Iceland. They're a fantastic team.
Well, they beat us.
Yeah, they beat us 2-1, but they're thrashing you 8-0. And that's even if you like Germany and that.
Yeah.
And it's one of them things where it'll take about 5 years to master. And if you've got 5 years, get yourself away. But most people in the gaming world do not have that kind of time to master something so...
Okay, just comparing it to another extremely difficult football game, then. Another one that was almost unplayable. Virtua Striker.
Yeah.
Do you remember Virtua Striker?
It's somewhere in my mind.
it was nigh on unplayable, and it was so hard to score on Virtua Striker. It was so difficult.
On Virtua Striker, you probably, with like about a decent day's worth of play, you could have grasped like the basic concept of it, and they had instructions.
Yeah.
On this, no instructions, just a fancy graphic of some player sliding on his knees with a football, Dino Dini's Kickoff Revival. It all looks slick. I mean, the budget, like, if the budget's been spent anywhere, it's being spent on the promotion of it. It looks clean, it looks good, but when you get to playing the game, it is absolute dross. And the funny thing is, I mean, Dino Dini himself, he's actually getting involved. He's trying to build a community. It's kind of sad. he's trying to build a community. He's trying to defend his product. I mean, he's put his name on it. There's no taking that back. And it's a terrible product, so he's a terrible person. But
I don't know if I go that far.
No, I would. I mean, no. This guy's robbed me of my life minutes.
Yeah, but that's like saying James Dyson is an amazingly good person because he made Dyson vacuum cleaners.
He's not. He was for Brexit. Look
exactly.
where that got us.
That's my point.
But I don't know. Dino Dini might have been for Brexit as well.
Don't think he was. With a name like Dino Dini.
if his politics are anything like his games, he's on the far right. Yeah, but he's. I mean, he's got his own Twitch, and you can actually talk to him. I mean, if you look at people talking to him online, it's pretty much basically what I'm saying, but with like more curse words, and. I mean, he's taking more flack than the Ghostbusters trailer at the moment.
Wow!
And it's because the game is unplayable. And people are sitting there like, I've spent £15, which is a lot of money in this day and age, on a game which I thought, I mean, it was great timing. Euro 2016's just finished. People are like in love with football still somehow. Don't know why, but they're still in love with football, and he's ruined it. He's ruined
he ruined football.
He has. It's like I'm a Sunderland supporter, and it's like watching Sunderland like in the first half of the season, the game. The ball doesn't stay on the feet, you can't pass, and the chances of scoring are nigh on impossible. It's Sunderland first half of the season syndrome every game you play. And it's, I mean, like say the only saving graces you can do get class sliding tackles like. That's £15 for that, no thanks. And like say if you want to go out and try it, by all means try it, but I'd say there's much better things to spend your money on. I'd rather spend the money on like loads of Ben and Jerry's than this. I got probably work off the fat easier than trying to work out this game.
Okay. All right. Well, that was
awful. That was Dino Dini's Kickoff Revival. Awful.